Hey, yo, and welcome to the AWO Journeyman podcast. I am JD, the Blues fan who has never experienced an MCG quite like it on Friday night. Back this week is Nate, the Pies fan who got to enjoy actually, I don't know if you enjoyed the headline that it was, but in the nick of time, Dacos has been cleared. So, how you doing, Nate?
He was cleared weeks ago.
It made me laugh. They're like in the nick of time, and I'm like, oh yes, it's the worst kept secret. It was like if he could have played if it was an elimination final, he would have played.
Get it? Because his name's Nick.
Horrible
time.
Dad joke.
Got it.
It's fucking AFL for you. And joining me as usual is Meso, the Freo fan, who will be demanding a first round pick for from St Kilda for Liam Henry. How you doing, Meso?
You know it. Good. Liverpool's winning. We don't need oil money to do it. So good stuff. Finals. Crackers. One other thing I want to add before we get into it. I told you so. I told you so. Straight sets for both of them.
You did call it. You were onto it early, and I think you've nailed that one, but you do have an apology to make later on as well, both of you. But boys, let's talk some footy. It's good to say boys again.
I'm not going to apologize because the only couple minutes that I saw, he kicked a goal. So yeah,
I love that. I mean, to be fair, their structure was just awful all over the field. It wasn't just Dixon that was the issue. But we'll get into that game. But Friday night football.
Friday night footy. Was it 96,412 people at the MCG? I'd say about a third of it was Carlton fans, 2/3 of it was Melbourne fans. I'm just fucking kidding with you. It was the opposite way around. Tremendous atmosphere. One of the best atmospheres I've ever seen for a semi-final. Carlton getting up by 2 points. Blake Acres in the goal square with a minute to go. What the greatest future third round draft pick ever?
I was going to say, and you know how far away that future's third's getting away? Like, it's going further up the list as well. So, yeah, Freo, you are getting screwed in that deal. Sorry, mate.
I hope it turns into a Driscoll.
Oh, there's another one?
I'll get into that. Yeah, there is another one.
There's another Noddy?
What a family.
Yeah.
The O'Driscolls, eh?
Oh, and apparently he's good. But anyway, getting off track.
Either way. Oh, mate. I was there for Friday night football live once again. So probably the last game I can get to for the year. Let's be honest. Unless Carlton makes a grand final, no chance. I'm not going up.
$1,600. Come on,
mate. And that's not even including a hotel and a ticket for the actual game. So
they got the curfew
what?
up there.
How does that work? What? So explain the pricing for me, because I am from Perth and my team's never as successful. So how does this work?
You could have travelled to Melbourne last year for a semi.
Basically, what it means is when there's a Victorian team that has to travel interstate, predominantly on the eastern seaboard, like New South Wales, Queensland, airplane companies will jack up the fucking prices. So if you want to go up to Queensland this weekend, good old $2,000, give or take a couple of $100 here and there, just to go up to fucking Queensland to watch 4 quarters of footy and come back down.
Lovely.
I haven't checked if it'd be cheaper for me to fly to the Gold Coast, though. I should be checking that shit out, because that's only an hour up the highway.
I think you're gonna look at for fucking rental cars and Ubers and all that. Expect a surcharge there to go 45 minutes from the Gold Coast to Brisbane.
Don't get me started about how shit it would be, and then also there's the chance they just get stomped by Brisbane, and that you don't want to be a Melbourne fan who travelled in 2018 just to watch them get stomped over in WA. So
if that happens is you stay in Queensland this Sunday. There'll be stores open, so there's something to do in Queensland on a Sunday morning. Sorry, mate.
Unlike if you're in WA on a Sunday and you'd lose your fucking mind on a Sunday.
You sleep in. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm sure that really distracts you when your team's been thumped in a preliminary final.
You're wearing your Melbourne mankini all around. What am I supposed to do? Copping it everywhere.
But we'll get back on track to Friday night. So I was, like I said, I was there. It was a game where I think most Carlton fans will tell you they had resided themselves in the last 10 minutes to the fact that we were losing. We were like, yeah, we're probably going to lose this one. Like, it felt like Melbourne were just absolutely dominating us in the last 10 minutes. And they were but all they were doing was kicking points, keeping Carlton in it. Next thing you know, a Jesse Motlop goal and a Blake Acres future third rounder goal.
You're welcome, and you're welcome.
I know. I love it. But
talk about double whammy.
Yeah, talk about double whammy for Freo. But both score a goal, and we're up, and it was the most craziest scenes when Acres kicked that goal. But the play itself is what I absolutely adore. Weeders takes the mark, kicks it into Hollands. I love how BT says it's not a good kick to Doherty, and it's actually a beautiful kick to Doherty from Hollands. Because he's falling back with the ball, and I can't remember who the player was. I think it was Judd McVie, who fell over. But yeah, he just had to take the body in that situation. Didn't let Doherty get through. Kicks it into Acres with McGovern putting on a brilliant piece of body work as well, and nearly slams it straight into the post. But kicks a goal and we're through to a prelim. And then it was just I think it was said best on commentary. It was a comedy of errors from Melbourne after that in that last 50 seconds. Kicking it into the man on the mark. Lever couldn't pick it up. Somehow getting Kennedy to kick a point. It was insanity to watch that last 50 seconds. But we got there. We got there in the end, and we're through to a prelim. And it was, like Nate said, the atmosphere, it was mental. We were going off in the stands. So what a night. That's the best night of football I've ever been to in my life.
Weird to bring this question up. As far as the game goes, as far as the learnings and the analytics and all that, is there any little negatives you can come out of that game that go, good to win, but, or is it just, we're into a prelim, let's soak it up, and then let's move on to Brisbane?
I definitely think the fumbles, we got to get that fumble game, got to get it out of our game, because you're not going to win a prelim with the fumble, especially against Brisbane with the fumbles we had on Friday night. We were just lucky that Melbourne had basically had the worst fumbles at times, and also was slamming it so far into the points, it was ridiculous. I think what you take out of it is that you still found a way to win. And that's one thing that you can take up to the Gabba. And I think a lot of people have said it best, you wouldn't want a better coach than Michael Voss to go up to the Gabba. So, he's done magic on that ground, time and time again. So, I'm not confident, but I'm still excited, I would say.
You also have Luke Power as an assistant coach. So they're fucked.
It's just all the boys coming back to show them how to play the ground.
Bring back Acker, Nigel Lappin, Sean Hart, if he's still alive. Yeah, get the job done.
Wouldn't surprise me if Jonathan Brown randomly turns up at training this week.
Good old Clark Keating, ruck coach.
Is Harry going to be back?
Yeah, so that's another thing as well. So Harry Mackay and Jack Munn will be a walk-up start for Carlton. It'd be a massive call to leave them out due to fitness or whatever. I guess the question is, who comes out for Carlton?
Well, I've also heard that potentially if Harry doesn't get up, Junior Silvani's still a very sneaky chance to play a final as well. Very underdone though, so that is due to fitness why he's not playing. H should be a walk-up start. I think I think if he was there on Friday, it would have made our forward line just that bit better against Lever and May. I will admit we did very well on Lever. I'd say Cunningham may be the unlucky one based on being subbed out, and he did have minimal influence. He's had probably minimal influence over the last two finals, where Fog's like basically they're the same type of player. So I think Fog's had the edge over him, and his pressure's just been immense. And he's amazing to get in score involvements, whereas Cunningham's probably been a little bit off. So he's probably the unlucky one to miss. And then it'd be interesting to see if you want to keep Kennedy in. So I would think Kennedy maybe moves to sub, and then Holland's probably out, which is harsh to say because the kid played a brilliant 15 minutes. But yeah, probably those moves will be what's made to make way for H and Martin.
I was thinking something a little bit different. Cunningham out for, I guess, Mackay. Hollands looks like the perfect sub.
Yeah, he changed. He changed the game.
I think he's a better sub than Dow, Kennedy. Keep Motlop in there. Or Motlop would be a good sub, but I think Motlop down forward and I keep Hollands as a sub. Hopefully there's no injuries for the prelim. I don't want Hollands coming on early because I don't think he'd make much of an impact. He's one of those players, put him on the final quarter. He's the sort of bloke that's going to run back with a flight and knock himself out for the team. I think he's got that in him. So
absolutely, and I think he's still 40 kg soaking wet, but he realistically has the heart of somebody who's been playing the game for about 5-10 years, sort of thing. Like he just has that sort of senior head on the body of an 18-year-old, which we see it all the time with some of these kids. But I think he's probably still going to be the unlucky one, just purely based on age and experience. And I think that somebody like a Kennedy can also be that burst of speed, and he's can be weirdly quick at times, but also I'd be open to any other. I think Fisher and Dow also still will potentially have something to play in this final series. But let's not just harp on about Carlton, because realistically, the D's have kicked themselves out of 4 finals basically.
Mm-hmm.
9-17. Like there was, I'll take you through some of the moments on Friday night where I thought we were just done. So, Cozzy Pickett kicks that goal, and I'm like, okay, it looks like Melbourne are about to absolutely stomp us. Then it was just plethora of points after that. So big one for me was Gorney slamming it straight into the point post. That was a captain's moment that he would have wanted to take. But I think the worser one is the Oliver stop on the line, that he's basically he stopped Oliver from kicking a goal that would have put them, I believe, three goal would have taken us 3 goals to win the game at that point.
I think it was touched by Chin Cotter prior to Gorn, like down forward when he's touched. I think it was touched. Even
I'm pretty sure
when Oliver kicked it, I think in the chat I went, it was touched. Like just straight away I thought it was touched. Seems like okay, maybe Gorn did a Sava and just kept it in play for some fucking reason, but I'm pretty sure it was Chin Cotter or Kemp, whoever the skinhead was that touched it.
I think it was Kempy. Which we got a lot of skinheads. It's funny. We shaped our heads for Doherty a few years ago, and then some of them have just kept that look for the last 3 years.
Is it really for Doherty, or is there something else going on?
Now it's not. I don't think it's for Doc now. Now I just think the boys like the look. I mean, I know Sin Connor, I reckon it's because he looks like a criminal. But yeah, Melbourne. I think you said it best, Nate. They're kicking away a dynasty.
No, and I'm speaking as a Collingwood fan who missed out on a dynasty a decade ago. I am seeing a team unravel in a dynasty period. They've got one flag to show for it. They've been the best team for the last 3 seasons. I pointed it out. 68 of the past 70 rounds, they've been inside the top 4. 69 out of 70, top 6. Sure. Every round since the start of 2021, they've been inside the top 8. They've been a dominant force inside the top 8. They've had times when they've had lulls halfway through the seasons. They've had lulls where they've lost to random opponents, and then they bounce back. Last season, they flamed out in terms of fitness. This year, they built it differently, and it looked like they had all the momentum going into the finals, and then they've kicked themselves out of fucking finals. Another straight sets exit, which is the 4th time in VFL, AFL history a team's gone out back-to-back in straight sets. Whereas Hawthorn went out in 2016, then 2018, missed finals in 2017, but Melbourne back-to-back seasons, straight sets exits. It's 4 losses, all at the MCG. So they've got no fucking excuse, really, that you can't blame your injuries or the weather or fucking umpires. It's on them. They fucked it.
It was gorgeous on Friday night. Like, the weather was beautiful for football. You couldn't have asked for a better weekend, I would say, for the finals, considering that first weekend was quite rainy. So yeah, they had no excuses, and it was purely down to all those points that we were talking about. It's just point after point after point, and they had every chance to seal the game in the fourth. Kept the door ajar, and we just managed to take our opportunity, and it's a completely different season for Melbourne and a completely different season for us now. Like it was looking midway through that fourth. I think there was times where people were probably like, "All right, Carlton's probably getting ready to pack it up here," but nah, through to a prelim. Cannot believe it.
I think with Melbourne, and this is going to be a bit controversial compared to their game against Collingwood, I felt like their players were off against Carlton compared to Collingwood. There was a lot more intensity in week 1 compared to week 2, but they had a lot more chances against Carlton compared to Collingwood. And I think Collingwood had more chances compared to Carlton. Carlton they're taking their chances. Collingwood didn't do it as much. So I'm fucking Melbourne, man. They missed out on another fucking. I can't get over.
I have a question for both of you. Do you think that Melbourne were distracted by the Maynard incident in this game?
No.
Oh, I reckon they were. I reckon.
I don't see it. I reckon the forward line has been iffy pretty much all year. They found a fix-it with Petty. Petty went injured, and the whole structure has been fucked since. I was amazed that they were able to get as far as they did. But yeah, like there was times where they were on top of you. There was times where you were on top of them. The midfield was feasting for Melbourne at times, and it looks like you couldn't lay a hand on Viney, Petrarca, and Oliver. But then the forward entries were just to nobody. They were just long bombs to no toll. Sometimes they were trying to pinpoint, drop it into Cozzy's freaking arms when he had 3 players around him. It was just, yeah.
To be fair, Fritsch and Cozzy looked the goods in the second half. But that's the problem. That was their only way of scoring goals in that second half. I really thought I'd see more of Petrarca down forward, and just didn't evaluate. Like, they have options and they just don't take them. Like, we pointed it out that he kicked 8 goals in 2 games.
Only one team of the week under Scoops.
Which I remember that because you were shitty. I remember this now. You were so shitty that Scoops didn't have him in team of the week the first time round. But they had that option. They didn't swing it at all. Like he went forward, was going forward in the first quarter.
Yeah,
and he kicked a goal. So it's amazing that the things that Melbourne didn't do. And the other last thing I would like to bring up is the not bringing Shaki on as well, and then also selecting Shaki as well. So yeah, not what do you guys think about not bringing a player like Shaki in and then not playing him?
Well, stupid.
I thought, okay, they're going to have a key forward as a sub. I don't like that idea, having a key forward or a ruck as a sub. But I thought, all right, they're probably not going to learn from last week. They're probably just going to bomb it long. But if they have extra height, then okay, maybe they're going to make Carlton accountable. But not having Shaki on at all, 4 or 5 different small forwards, all a little bit different in their own way, some contributing, some not contributing. By the way, Joel Smith, 3 goals. What a boy. Just what a lovely nomination.
Well, can I just quickly cut you off for a second? Just say, fuck you, MCG, for not having a Joel Smith badge. I was looking to get Nathan a kind gift out of the kindness of my heart, and I couldn't even do that for him.
That 3 goals is enough. He picked up Jacob Wiedering in the goal square when he was down with that. I think it was a head knock or a throat. So basically, he got himself a bit groggy. So what a boy. But back to Melbourne. Sorry, just real quick. 5 small forwards. I thought, all right, Josh Shaki comes on for one of them. bomb it long. Josh Shackey can chop out in the ruck as well for Gawn. Basically, a big 20 minutes for Shackey, but couldn't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
This game may have been lost at the selection table, but then it was emphasised by the fucking Melbourne forward line just deciding to kick points instead of goals. We won't even talk about Brodie Grundy not even being selected. Max Gawn with a toe injury. Obviously,
real?
the Maynard bump on Brayshaw, and how I think there was more venom for Brayshaw or for Maynard getting cleared compared to facing Carlton. Stephen may have punched a few holes in the wall as opposed to Jake Melksham, but and also Michael Hibbert as well. He didn't get chaired off or anything.
Oh, that was bullshit.
Just what this does emphasise for me, at least, is I think Melbourne may make a play for Harley Reid.
I think called that.
I think they'll get the draft picks from Sydney to get rid of Brodie Grundy, and I think they're going to package everything up to make a play for Harley Reid or get 2 or 3 first rounders. Yeah.
Is it actually possible for them to get Reid, especially with the salary cap and everything?
You're the team that's going to make this happen.
I mean, it'd be hilarious if they had the most dominant midfield of all time and they had nobody to kick it to.
You did cause this though, Mason.
Oh man, I love the shits and gigs. So once again, like it would be hilarious if they went out straight sets like 12 times in a row.
I mean, they are the sort of team that can do that. Like they won the flag in Perth, 2017.
I saw. I watched Gawn kick 5 goals. That shit was wild.
2017, they lost to Collingwood in the final round to miss out on the top 8, and they get knocked down straight sets. So it seems like no matter where they are on the ladder or in the pecking order, they become a laughingstock either way.
And we're through to a fucking prelim. Jesus fuck.
Oh,
what a year. Can I just say one last thing about Carlton, and we'll move on to the next game. Who the fuck would have thought when we were in 15th position? It's like, hey, this team's definitely getting into a prelim.
Not this guy.
Fucking thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Herbertron. He's the reason why this has happened.
That and the old skinny dip in the dam at Ed Kerno's farm.
It reminds me of the Happy Gilmore scene where he goes to his happy place and then he hits that shot from the woods. He goes, "Ain't over yet, McGavin. The way I see it, we've only just begun." That's Carlton right now. Carlton rules.
Big game next week. Onto the Gabba, the Gabbatoir. Cannot wait. I have to watch this one on the couch though, and then I'm going to try and get and if we get through, let's see if we can get some grand final tickets. All right, we'll move on to Saturday football, which the other semi-final between Port Adelaide and the Giants in probably one of the more boring finals I've seen in a very, very long time.
That's a big call.
Commentators tried their best in this one to make it interesting, but it was, come on, mate. This game was done by halftime. Port got within I think it was like 16 points in the last, but that was just felt like purely out of luck. Ken Hinkley said it best. They were never in this game.
11 minutes in that second quarter is the reason why the Giants are in the prelim, and Port, as Meso called it, are out in straight sets.
Well done, Meso.
What happens? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. They're like a completely different team as soon as the finals happens.
That's actually a good call.
I got sucked in like a dickhead.
I've been saying it all bloody year. I don't give a shit how good they are all season long. I want to see how they are in finals. And once again, dog shit.
Playing like dog shit. Fucking dog shit football here.
It's like when the Monstars came and took like all the players' abilities and put it into the ball. That's what happened to the Port Adelaide team.
Meso just takes it and goes a step further. And I was
going to say, there is currently some like alien team playing Ripper football somewhere in the world right now.
Coached by Mark Choco Williams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, success follows him.
That's a premiership coach right there. Ken Hinkley has not even made a grand final with Port Adelaide.
That's wild.
No, and did you guys get a chance to watch his presser?
No,
by any chance?
No, not at all.
It was just depression.
it was depression, but it was also just the weirdest thing ever where I don't know if it was like making up excuses or anything, but he's like talking about like, we brought in some banged up players because we've got some kids that just aren't ready for AFL. And you're like, okay, you don't want to give anyone a shot, like instead of maybe a banged up Lysette? Like, they made some real interesting decisions in the selection table as well. So I feel like the two teams in the top that were, holding the top four positions, so Melbourne and Port, just made real shitty selection decisions coming into this week. Like playing Lysette just seems like the absolute worst decision. Dropping Finlayson to sub just didn't seem like the right idea. I felt like,
oh wow, he was sub. Oh shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and the other thing as well is like they kept Ollie Lord on the side, which was great to see, but then didn't drop Todd Marshall, which I thought was the man who absolutely deserved to go out of that side from last week. So yeah, they just haven't been able to fire a shot in that forward line for what feels like months. One thing we need to talk about, we've discussed it at length, mate, these fucking Giants senior players that are playing like they're 23, 24, full of beans. Mate, you can't deny when Whitfield, Caniglio, Kelly, who else was there? Daniels, even Jesse Hogan looked like an absolute gun forward on the weekend.
Fucking Hogan.
How much do you be feeling, mate? So you're seeing Blake Acres kick a match-winning goal.
I've been pissed all fucking weekend.
Yeah, Jesse Hogan's kicking 5 goals. He's in the form of his life.
I think it was four in this game, but he is 4 goals. Sorry, yeah. So you think he could have had an 8-goal haul?
Oh wow, and yeah, Lockie Neal for him. Wow, oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. Like every time I open Reddit, it's like a Blues fan being like, "Oh, I can't believe you guys gave away Akers and Shearer." I'm like, motherfucker, fuck off.
It's harsh.
The Shearer one's harsh, but the Akers one is kind of justified given it's more recent. But future third.
Akers is too much, mate.
They put the chips in on Henry. And then he's left.
I was going to ask a question that's going to come off so rude. I was going to say, how's that going for you?
How's that going for us? I don't know. Probably pretty shit. We'll replace him with another winger, and we'll develop that winger, and then that winger will leave.
Then they get stolen. You know who's a player that I've been absolutely adoring from the Giants this season? Lockie Ash.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Toby Bedford.
Oh, Toby Bedford's been amazing as well, but I've been loving the season that Lockie Ash has been putting together as well. Just his running carry's been exceptional this year, and taking the same year as Green as well. So Tom Green, that is, and they're both just absolute stars for the Giants at this point. So that draft pool for them was a winning hand.
You boys asked a question last week: how do you fix Port? And I commented, "You can't fix Port." Let's try and dissect it a bit. Yeah, Port's gonna get Asafa and Zirk Thatcher in the draft or in the trade period. So 2 key defenders: Asafa, the height; Zirk Thatcher, hopefully, is more intercepting. Sorry, Essendon fans, but he's much better intercepting over locking down, which probably means Ben Mackay's off, Brodie Grundy's off. I think they're looking at Jordan Sweet in the ruck, but I think they need a midfielder in that 25 to 30 age bracket, because as good as Rosie, Butters, and Horn-Francis are now, they are young. They're going to work better and gel together a lot better as each year passes on, but they need someone younger than Wines, older than Rosie, to kind of like what Brisbane had with Dunkley, to make that next step.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Who's available?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Like I reckon they would have to trade for somebody or try to convince somebody with a year left on their contract. Let me just look at free agency.
Forget free agency. There's not a lot in free agency anymore this season.
Yeah, it's sort of it died. Free agency has realistically died this year.
And besides Ben Mackay, it's Jade Gresham, Tom Doedee if he didn't do his ACL.
Jade Gresham.
That's pretty much it. Like you
Yeah,
might
like
have an out of contract
Parrish
player,
has
but
re-signed, Redmond had re-signed, Himmelberg's re-signed, Dixon had re-signed. Gresham's the only other one, but Gresham's not going to solve the midfield's problem.
yeah,
It's not a lot to do with free agency this year.
he's not going to South Australia though, unless you think outside the box. Like Lysette is apparently been linked to a third club. Xavier Dersma has value if they want to trade him to Victoria.
Who's Lysette linked to?
So
Coast.
I'm not gonna like this, but apparently he was linked to fucking Collingwood earlier this season.
Jesus.
But we got rid of that one. But now apparently Melbourne could be linked to it. This is all big footy kind of shit. But hey, big footy kind of shit can be right from time to time.
I was more Melbourne, like thinking, yeah, you know what we need? Another ruckman.
But getting rid of Grundy though.
It's true, but do they not have like any form of development of their own?
No, they actually don't.
Jesus Christ.
They've got Jefferson, who's a key forward.
Oh yeah, oopsies.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can do to fix Port. Like it's all down to drafting. They're going to take a few years to probably dominate again, and I still think they're going to go down before they go up. Ken's not going to win that flag, which is he could pretty much take that to the bank.
Question for the Port fans, the older Port fans, who the Sandford dominance for the 19th or the 20th century, they come into the AFL, built up as like a mini Collingwood in terms of feralness with the fans. They probably are. In terms of history, it's probably up there as well, but it's more Sandford. But the disappointment at AFL level, even Choco Williams had this disappointment before he won a flag. Ken Hinkley's just got disappointment. I'll bring it up again. Yeah.
Like, don't forget the TARP days, and don't forget, like,
don't
forget my favorite thing that I keep seeing was a lot of Adelaide fans just ripping Port fans to shreds, because Port fans apparently like to brag, and this is just things you read on the internet, but apparently Port fans like to brag they don't leave games no matter what. No matter what. So fans were taking videos of Port fans leaving in droves, like with 15 minutes to go. And it's just like, you want to brag about those sorts of things. It's like, well, there you go. Sorry, get fucked. As a Pies fan, are you worried about playing this informed Giants side? And the other one is, we'll elaborate on this one as well, but who do you think is coach of the year? Because we've got three very big contenders in the prelims probably at the moment. So Fags, I probably don't have as coach of the year because it's just another year of getting to the top four for the Lions. They've got to win a flag for him to be coach of the year for me. But, sorry, actually, go back to question one before I fucking...
Yeah. No, so Giants, well, I expect Collingwood to win. I'm not being cocky when I say that. It's the same way I expect Brisbane to beat Carlton. It's just they're 1 and 2. They should beat these sides in that 5 to 8 range. I called it a shit test for both of them. Basically, to get to a grand final, you got to earn it still. It's not going to be a cakewalk. But I am worried to play the Giants more so given the history of 2019, because me at least, I went into that game thinking, right, we should get over the Giants. We're going to play Richmond in the grand final. It's going to be epic. And then we fucked it in the fucking wet. Like I hate rainy days in Melbourne now because of that. The crowd level, it was under 80,000 at the G at that game. So, and you just can, at the time, I could just tell in the first half, we're off. We look so far off. I don't want to have that feeling again. So I am worried for that, but I back Craig McRae and Collingwood to get up. That's just my early thoughts so far. And for Coach of the Year, ask me that question at about 5:20 p.m. Saturday, September 30th. Whoever wins the flag is going to be Coach of the Year.
Fair enough. I would argue that there's three probably credentialed at the moment. It's just Voss, Kingsley, and McRae. Those are my three for Coach of the Year. But yeah, like you said, I do also think that if you win the flag on grand final day, shouldn't you just automatically be Coach of the Year?
It's like when people were saying Craig McRae was the Coach of the Year last season. Good to get him into top four, get Collingwood to top four again, but they didn't win a flag. Sorry, that's Chris Scott. He's the Coach of the Year.
Oh no,
Ooh.
I don't
Ooh.
agree with you there, Nate. Oh no, Nate.
Is that because
I
JLo was
feel
nominated for that last season as well? Or?
no. Jeez, I'm not that bad.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know. Honestly feel like Fly was the best coach. You looked like the best team. Like he brought the best out of you that wasn't expected.
In terms of that criteria, then that's Kingsley hands down.
Yeah, that's the way that I'm looking at it. That's why I see Kingsley as the coach of the year in my eyes. Because Chris Scott had an amazing list. You'd expect him to be good. But yeah, that's the way I look at it.
I think with Chris Scott, he won like 15 or 16 in a row to win the flag, so that's probably my reasoning for it. Just with this Giants team, it does remind me of Collingwood of last season. You sack your coach mid-season. You bring in Adam Kingsley, who was also a Damien Hardwick understudy. You go into round one without any debutants, kind of similar to Collingwood last season, round one, where it's just Nick Dacos and Lipinski. You don't really chop and change much. Adam Kingsley, in his first month and a bit, was in the coach's box looking so fucking angry. So was Craig McRae. He's come down to the bench. He looks so calm and collected. He looks like he knows what he's doing. Players are in career best form now, resurgence, renaissance, whatever you want to call it, under the Giants. They're winning on the road. They're winning matches they're not expected to win. They're winning close ones. These ones are a lot more better. The Giants here are more impressive than Collingwood last season. I will go as far as to say that. Like the 11 wins on the road. They've never won back-to-back games at the MCG in their history. So that's what I'm trying to hold my hat on for Collingwood at least.
Yeah.
It's
just this is the year though that they feel like, if anything, that would be it. They've just been breaking not just records, but also just not only that, just setting records, and also this is just a completely different Giants side to round, to the side that lost to West Coast in round 2 to
That's
now.
another thing as well. Yeah, Collingwood lost to the Eagles last season. I think the Giants can get better. This orange tsunami, I'm not fully on board. I'm not being negative on them. It's just with a developing side still, as like they've still got the senior heads. It's still a developing side. I'm looking forward to what they do next season, but they've got 2 weeks to win a flag for the first time in their history. So I'm looking forward to see how their journey goes. I think there's a twist and a tail still for the Giants. I think there's a little bit more to give in this season. But I
think next week's just going to be a brilliant game for mine. And it's funny, Nate, you and we were talking about prelim times for the games as well. And it's weird being able to get shitty for it, like being like, we'll fucking release the times then.
Yeah.
Are you all good with, like, you're probably happy with Friday night rather than Saturday?
Yeah, I'm happy with Friday. I wouldn't have minded Saturday so long as it's Saturday Arvo. Like, I'm actually a bit shitty for Brisbane v Carlton happening at fucking 5:15 p.m.
5:15.
I would have thought maybe a Saturday Arvo, get the sun out for Brisbane, and then so Brisbane NRL prelim final is Saturday night at Suncorp Stadium. I would have thought, right, the AFL, the Arvo, then rugby at night. But it looks like the AFL is going to overlap the rugby, which just looks a little bit petty. And I don't think Carlton will get back home in time after the game. You would have to rush to the fucking airport to go home.
Well, it depends, like, if how you look at doing it. Like, do you fly back on the Sunday morning? If this is all hypotheticals, of course, like, but do you fly back on the Sunday morning, or is it one of those situations where the AFL can swindle something? They've done it before, I think, with clubs to get them back to their home state, for especially if they're into grand finals. So it would be interesting to see if the AFL steps in at that point to get Carlton back, basically get back for the final, the grand final. But got to get there as well, because next week's just massive for the 4 clubs involved. It's still anyone's game for mine.
Can we preview the prelims or?
Yeah. Let's move on to the prelims.
Do we want to start with Friday night or Saturday?
Wait, what was that, Meso? You had your hand up.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not a class.
Well, he had his hand up. But it was a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But he did it like this. Who gives a thumbs up over the back of their head?
Me.
This
Yeah.
guy.
Was it? We started with Friday night. All right. Nick Dacos back in the nick of time. Have to mention that. But Taylor Adams does a hamstring at training. Corky from John Noble of all players. So it seems like that's a straight swap for Taylor Adams. Nick Dacos coming in. Not sure who'll be the sub. Most likely Jack Ginnivan. They're not going to chop and change too much. They won't change a winning formula. The Giants, I don't think Briggs will miss with that shoulder. He looked banged up in the final quarter. Couldn't lift his left shoulder, but he would be right. He's been the point of difference for the Giants since coming in. I think it was after the Giants got smashed against Collingwood earlier this season. He came in and he's just worked wonders for the Giants. He'll continue being solo ruck. Lockie Keefe can pinch hit in the ruck from time to time. Friday night MCG. It's a big ask for the Giants. Again, 11 wins on the road. This would be 11 venues. They've had multiple wins on the road, just at some same venues. Again, 95,000 against Collingwood. They've drowned out a lot of home crowds. This would, again, be a massive ask. I'm going to tip Collingwood to win this one by about 3 or 4 goals. I will be worried still because I'm going to have to go through a traumatic fortnight to win a flag as a Pies fan, get through 2019, and then it's either myself or my dad that's going to have to go through trauma for the grand final, if that gets to that point. I've loved this Orange team all season, but now I have to go back to hating them. So I'm on Meso's side here. I don't want to see Plastic win this. I think there's I don't know what World Health Organization or whatever wants to get rid of plastic by 2050. Well, Collingwood can get rid of it by Friday night.
You want to
I
go
don't
next,
know.
Meso?
What do you boys think of this Friday night contest?
I reckon your defense will be able to shut down their forwards. I think that the midfield will have you beat, but yeah, that's my big call. I reckon the midfield will have you beat. But you'll still win based off of, I think, transition out of the back half and catching them out the back with goals. You've just got too many weapons in the forward line. It'll be interesting to see who gets who in terms of defenders for Collingwood. Riccardi had who gets Toby, who gets what's his name? Riccardi? Yeah.
Ricky Riccardi.
Yeah, he had a bit of a stinker against Port though. And who else have they got? Oh, of course.
Yeah, one good goal. And 3 behinds.
Yeah, 3 behinds. I saw a couple of those, but yeah. Hogan though. Hogan coming into form, which is scary because he can clunk marks. He actually has the ability to clunk marks and kick goals. So him finding form at this moment in time is not the best for you guys, but I still reckon Darcy Moore or Murphy will be able to shut him down easily.
No, I think it'll be more on Hogan, Murphy on Riccardi. Who's the fucking... Oh, Toby Green. Braden Maynard on Toby Green. Or they may go Quaynor.
I'd go Quaynor.
Quaynor's very good off the hard-back flank intercepting, but he's not good one-on-one shutting down a star player. I feel like he can get goals picked on him.
Yeah, wasn't it the Toby Green Quaynor matchup where Toby destroyed him? Yeah,
5 goals a couple of years ago. Yeah, and I was there to witness it, and that was just
So no, you're right. My bad.
Midfield battle, I can expect them to win clearances, but
that's what I meant. Yeah,
but I think disposals, I think Collingwood would be fine. They'll get a lot more run and carry through the midfield. The thing with teams like Carlton and Brisbane twice, maybe Melbourne, but definitely Hawthorn is when Collingwood turn it over, you have to make them pay. That's what the Giants will have to do to beat Collingwood. Just play your own game. They're not going to create a lot of turnovers, Collingwood, but you can beat them off turnovers. That's what the Giants are going to have to do to win Friday night.
I would also say that you pointed this out probably, I think it would have been about 6-7 weeks ago. And you said if a team plays their game style against Collingwood, you can take it to Collingwood and can defeat them. I think if the Giants don't get spooked and don't try to throw everything out the window, they have every chance to be in this up to their eyeballs, down to the final siren. Do I think they'll get over the top of you? No. I think Collingwood's just that little bit more classy to allow the Giants to beat them at the MCG. But I still think it's going to be a bit of a nervous one for you on Friday night.
I'll be nervous, and hopefully those nerves settle early on. But yeah, you're gonna have to go through trauma. Like, there's no clear path or easy way to a premiership. Unfortunately, you have to make sacrifices, and this will be it for me.
Well, it's also like, you think about it, like, flags are never, like you sort of said, flags are never easy to win. They're never easy to come by. Like, even the fact that, like, the Giants have made themselves to a prelim will just give them that little bit extra more belief as well. So, like I said, this should be a ripper game, but Collingwood, for mine, should get over the line, get themselves into a grand final.
Let's say Giants win a flag from 7th. Do you reckon they're going to go straight? Do you reckon they're going to go straight to the Dogs and go, "Look what we got from 7th"?
Look at what we did. That'd be funny as fuck.
All right, Saturday. Fucking. Can we even call it twilight?
I'll take over this one. I have a feeling that this is the end of Carlton's fairy tale for this year. I have a feeling that we'll probably similar to the game on Friday night. I reckon it'll be a very fun contest. I think it'll be a great contest as well. I just think the Lions are too strong. They're too finals experienced, and the pressure's really on them to make this grand final finally. Like, this is probably the year where they're probably sitting there going, let's be honest, Collingwood's been the favourite for most of the year. So Brisbane are probably looking at it going, this is the year that we are the chance to knock over someone like a Collingwood in a grand final, because they're every chance to win it all this year, Brisbane. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great contest. I think there's going to be, I think it's going to be arm wrestles all over the ground. I think Harris Andrews versus Curnow is a great matchup. I think if Mackay comes back in, then Payne as well becomes a very interesting matchup. I think going off of earlier in the season, Carlton versus Brisbane, that is not a game you can use as a template for how these two sides are going. Brisbane are arguably better than they were at that time, and Carlton are not the same side they were in the losing streak either. So, going to be interesting. And Carlton are going to have to basically defeat a lot of odds, because we do not beat Brisbane at all. So, especially up at the Gabba, a place where they've only lost, I think, is it 8 times in the last year. And you want to talk about things that you hold your hat on. I believe it is eight losses, and 4 of those losses have happened in finals. So that's what I'm going to hold my hat on and hope that we can get over the line. But I'm going to tip Brisbane to probably win this one.
I mean, what do I reckon?
Sorry.
What are you doing?
They're pointing at you.
I was letting you talk.
Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So pretty much this relies on Charlie. So,
yeah.
Charlie Cameron.
No. I was waiting for you guys to say yes.
Both.
Damn it, I was going to say yes. I was going to say for you guys to say which Charlie, and I was going to say yes. You sons of bitches. You didn't go along with it. Because
it's Charlie Lazaro. We're waiting on Charlie Lazaro to come.
Charlie Lazaro, yep.
So,
what a boy.
Charlie. Who the fuck is Charlie? What? Anyway, all right. Fuck it all. It's Charlie Cameron or Charlie Curnow. They're the difference makers. That's the short and simple of it. Pretty much they're going to be the game winners. Let's just put it there.
I also think Carlton not having the 23rd man in the crowd is gonna affect them. The last 2 weeks have been partially fueled by fans as well, I would say.
I mean, oh yeah, that is a fair point. Like, the crowd has been massive for you guys. They've more than likely helped wheel you guys from when it looked like times are going tough in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, they've been massive, but I don't know. I reckon they'll still be noisy. Do you know how that's going to go with in terms of ticket sales? Is it going to be like 90 to 10% or like?
Expect a lot of Carlton fans to fly up, and expect a lot of Carlton fans to make the trip. Plus, like Collingwood and Nate would know this about being one of the big four clubs, and especially since ours have all of a sudden turned back up. You got fans in every state. You always tell me about the Blues fans in WA. Queensland's got a large contingency. Sydney has a large contingency. I think Adelaide's probably the smallest contingency of Blues fans, and there's still a big fan base there too. So, yeah, it's just the way it sort of works when you're fans of these big clubs. You sort of do potentially get that little bit of an advantage of, crowds anywhere can potentially be in your favour.
I think it will be about 3/4 Brisbane, a quarter Carlton, but that quarter, well, Carlton fans will make it sound a lot louder.
They'll be fucking loud.
Yeah, they will be loud. I think the matchups for Brisbane's forward line or Brisbane's defence, I think Payne's going to go to Kerno. And I think Andrews will go
I
to
was
Mackay.
thinking that when I said it, actually.
Yeah. I think if Brisbane are going to lose this, it's going to be on them as opposed to Carlton beating them. I think Jack Gunston is going to be a wild card selection because I looked at his knee injury and I'm thinking that's season over, and apparently he's going to be selected for this week. So I'm really fascinated how he's going to get up for the prelim. If he doesn't have an influence, that's another thing as well. I think Jared Lyons was a sub in week 1 finals. He was playing VFL. Gunston may come in for Lions, and then someone's going to have to push back in as the sub, probably Archie.
Oh, that's harsh as well.
That's a big oof. No.
But could this be another team that makes another selection miscall?
Yeah. I'm not calling it now, but I'm highlighting it early on that, hey, if Brisbane lose and Gunston doesn't fire, that's going to be one of the reasons why. I also think the defensive matchups as well, and how Carlton play their forward line. Like Carlton's forwards, they've kicked 11-8 against Sydney and then 11-7 against Melbourne. That's not a winning score for a prelim or even a grand final. So you're going to have to try and nullify.
Well, that's without
Brisbane.
Charlie kicking a big bag,
yeah,
or Harry kicking a bag.
You'll have to nullify Brisbane's forward line if that's the case, and have fun trying to nullify Brisbane's forward line. Because they can kick goals from any fucking area.
Couple of highlighted players from Carlton's back line that have to play well. Sincotter's got to play the game of his life. Yeah. You would say Newman's, already in career best form, but he's just got to continue that and be the general down there. Yeah. Marchbank has to play out of his skin.
I think Marchbank's going to play on Gunston, and I think that might be enough. I don't think he has to play good, but just cover him. I think that's about it.
Yeah. I think, and then I would say it's potentially whoever plays on. Does Newman play on Charlie Cameron? It sacrifices a lot of his game to do that.
I wouldn't
and
want to.
Newman's a creator for us, so it's one of those things where do you throw Cincotta on him and play him as a lockdown, or does Sard, who is notorious for also letting players run loose, go to? But it's going to be an interesting matchup for the back line and the forward line. But yeah, for me, it's Brisbane in this one.
But I think Sard was so clean against Melbourne. If he can play like that against Brisbane, I think he can take on Charlie and nullify him. That's a big ask though. So if it's not Sard, I actually don't know who. So I can't see Cincotta or Newman. Or
Please
Newman.
tell me you've seen the meme of Sard standing over the Essendon grave, giving the thumbs up.
Oh god, is Essendon fans going to rip into Adam Sard for that, or?
No, he didn't make the meme. It was just a meme that's been going around.
I know, but fucking Essendon fans will rip into Sard if Carlton lose. They're going to rip into whoever loses. Essendon fans are going to rip into either Sard or Danaher.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Brisbane win most of their games when they win clearances. But I think Carlton's got the midfield to beat Brisbane in clearances. But it's whether they can use the ball efficiently, which they've been doing in the second half of the season. Can they do it again against Brisbane? That's the big test.
Yeah. But who you boys got in this one, and then we'll move on to Takeshita Watch.
Lockie Neal and the boys.
I'll go Brisbane. Probably a bigger margin, probably about 4 or 5 goals. I'm not saying that in a negative light to Carlton. I think Carlton will take it to them.
No.
It won't be like West Coast Melbourne 5 years ago. I think Carlton will take it to Brisbane, but I think Brisbane, they've been the best side for the last 5 seasons. It'd be a tragedy if they don't make a grand final or don't have a flag to show for it.
Well, after ripping Melbourne's heart out, let's hope we can do the same to Brisbane and knock another team out of finals. And then, I mean, we may as well bring it up. We could be staring down the barrel of you versus me in a grand final.
Like, I've already thought about the hypotheticals if that happens, and yeah, I may quit watching footy if we lost to Carlton. Not
I
because
don't
of
know
the
how
result.
I'd feel, because I'd just be happy we made it, but I would never want to lose to Collingwood either.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the result that kills me. It'd be the comments I made earlier this season. I never would have thought it'd come back to bite me in the ass like this. Like, I know media pundits will make odd comments and people will rip into them, and like that's their legacy. I feel like if Carlton beat Collingwood, that's my legacy on YouTube or anywhere. Like that's where I go into hibernation. Like,
If
I'm not
Carlton
gonna
make
have
the grand final and then win it, I dibs editing the episode so I can cut that in.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can, but I just won't be around. I may fuck off to Bolivia if that happens.
He's just gonna become a chef boy again and just become a country bumpkin.
I'll do a Brock Lesnar and just live a country life, get a hot
Go live in
wife.
Saskatchewan.
Or yeah, like I haven't even thought about Collingwood being Carlton. Like, it hasn't happened since 1910. My dad has called it already. He reckons it's Collingwood Carlton, and even he's not looking forward to it because he's seen, I think, 4 grand final losses against Carlton.
I just couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine how shit it would be for Mason. And then 2, I couldn't imagine what this fucking city would be like if Collingwood and Carlton made a grand final.
Well, I've already said I'm fucking off to see family if that happens. Oh, if Collingwood make a grand final, I'll piss off. But if it's Carlton GWS, then I'm just going camping. I won't even watch it.
I'm just gonna try my hardest to get a ticket, and then when I don't, just watch it alone.
What about Brisbane versus the Orange team?
We've discussed this you would have seen me and Nate actually discussed all options of what happens in these situations. We probably would both be calmer with that situation.
I may even ask to go over to John's place and go right, let's just have some fun watching this game.
Because we just both won't care.
Like a hawk. Let's just pick out one player. Let's watch them like a hawk. See if they can win a Norm Smith or have the best game of their life.
Oh,
Like the Kieran Briggs jinking game. Every time he gets a hit out, have a sip.
Oh, that would be epic. Brisbane GWS.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so don't discount the fact that we don't get me wrong. We've thought about the likely, like, you know, if Carlton Collingwood played, but we've also thought about every other option.
When was the last time a non-Victorian team both played in the grand final?
2006.
Yeah.
West Coast Sydney.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Get better interstate teams.
It's Takeshita!
Back on TV this week, boys. Yeah, I think he had a week off last week, but the Don Callis masterpiece was revealed this week on Dynamite, and it was Takeshita standing over Kota Ibushi. So it looks like, boys, we are staring down the barrel of exactly what we thought we were going to get, which is Kota Ibushi versus Takeshita. And it is going to be one of the most wild things we've seen in a while. I mean, you know how batshit Kota is. So, and Takeshita's proven now that he's got that batshit mentality of I'll just do whatever.
He's got the dog in him.
He's got that dog in him. Yeah, so we're staring down the barrel of that. And then you've also still got Kenny Omega on the sidelines as well in this whole thing. So talk about taking a boy and just shooting him to the moon.
It's happened so fast.
he makes fast people look not fast. But just quickly getting back into Takeshita Watch. So Don put a screwdriver through the painting of Kota, indicating that he's going to try and take Kota Ibushi out with the screwdriver. Do we think that Takeshita is going to get over the Kota in this one?
Ooh.
2 wins
don't
over
know.
Kenny. Don't forget.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well, I tipped. I didn't expect him to beat Omega twice, and he did that. So I don't know if I predict Takeshi to win, but he loses. Is he the guy that exists to fuck up my predictions in wrestling, or
Could be. Could be.
I'm gonna say no, because if he loses, then okay, I'm not too fast. But if he wins, fuck yes.
Yes. But that is Takeshita Watch. All right. Let's just we'll wrap this thing up because we've been going for quite a while, and I'll just quickly go back over the games again. So Friday night we got Collingwood versus Giants at the MCG, and then Saturday night we got Carlton versus Lions at the Gabatoir. 5:50 in the afternoon. 15 in the afternoon. What the fuck
For
is
you,
that?
3:15 for me.
Still so random. That's actually not too bad for you. It's just a midday game for you, but yeah, shit house for us in terms of what Nate and I discussed about potentially getting back to Melbourne. But we'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition. We are the AWO Journeyman. Give us a like, share, subscribe on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. And as usual, please
Oh,
drink more water.
drink more water.